Punky and Kelly Harrod get married young, and with 2 young kids, they're struggling to make ends meet. Still, they're managing to have some fun. Punky's taken up racing, and they've made some new friends at the local speedway.
I don't know what to tell you.
But Punky's hobby is starting to wear on the marriage.
Cars.
It just seemed like it started to deteriorate. I just didn't get along as much.
You don't come home. You don't bring the pay.
They got into it one day, and Punky went to grab her arm because she had hit him in the nuts. And he grabbed her hair, and I was like, hey, what the hell is going on? And he goes, I didn't mean to do that. And then they really started arguing. And I was like, you guys need to chill out.
Not all their arguments are about the mundane. Rumor has it, Kelly may be cheating on Punky.
Friends said when they would go over to Punky's house waiting on him to get off of work to hang out, you know, she would come on to them.
Most of the rumors center around Gilbert, who still seems interested in Kelly.
Gilbert was always over there. There was sometimes I'd show up and, you know, after work, and Punky wouldn't be there, but he'd be there.
Punky suspects something is going on. Though he can't be sure, it's enough to set him on edge.
What do you mean? I don't understand you.
He'd get mad about it. He was jealous.
Things get so bad, police are repeatedly called to the house. And on more than one occasion, Kelly walks out on Punky. But she always comes home.
Anybody home?
Early in the new year, Punky comes home to find his wife and children gone.
Anybody?
And this time, she's not coming back.
Kelly, anybody home?
He called me at lunch, upset. Kelly's gone. I said, shit. You guys fighting? No. I said, where'd she go? He didn't know.
Hey, Dad, Kelly left me. She took the kids. I can't believe it.
She was just gone. There was no warning, you know, nothing. There was no major fight or nothing that made her take off. It was just, boom, she was gone.
This can't be possible.
And the kids with her.
He was frantically running all over town, threatening to kill himself.
Punky would go looking for her, would go talk to her dad, talk to her friends. He ended up coming and staying back with us at our house. He was depressed.
As weeks go by, Punky is desperate to see his kids again.
It was devastating. And he wanted the kids back. He wanted her back, but his main concern was the kids.
To make matters worse, Punky learns the rumors about Gilbert are true. His best friend confesses to sleeping with Kelly.
Get off of my property.
We had heard from someone that Punky and Gilbert got into it. Well, they're fighting or bickering or something. So I went home and I was like, what's going on with you and Gilbert? He goes, it's none of your business. Because he's a punk. And that's all. I don't want to talk about it.
And after that, Punky and him kind of cut corners, and you go your way and I go my way.
Despite Kelly's infidelity, Punky wants her back. But first, he needs to find her.
And I said, look, just divorce the Don't call her that, don't call her that. I said, file for temporary custody of the kids. That way you bring her out in the open.
Punky takes his dad's advice and files for divorce. His lawyer tracks down Kelly and the kids in Arkansas.
And the lawyers found her, got her subpoenaed.
Faced with the threat of losing her kids in a divorce, Kelly has had a change of heart.
They decide they want to reconcile. He's like, I don't know what to do. What should I do? Well, if you love her, get back together with her. Try not to argue so much with her.
Everything under control.
Suck up to her. Do whatever it takes to get her back. If you truly love her.
Okay. I'll take care of everything. I'll make some breakfast, okay?
Punky cancels the divorce proceedings, and they try to start fresh.
Punky was like super duper at her feet, doing everything she wanted, but something wasn't right. Things weren't like they were before she left. It wasn't, you know, where they worked things out or, you know, they would argue and then get over it real quick.
I don't think they ever got along really good after that, but they got back together.
Kelly tried to leave the relationship, and it's almost as if Punky forced her back. And so now she's living with him under duress, and she probably doesn't want to be there.
There are people who sometimes come back together and make it work for the kids for some time after a situation like that happens. But more often than not, it doesn't work. It's short-lived if it happens at all.
So what's going to happen is they're going to probably fight. There's going to be a greater escalation, and it could lead to violence.
Perhaps to reduce the tension in their marriage, Punky and Kelly are spending more and more time with their new friends, Jerry and Tammy.
When Tammy and Jerry show up in the picture, initially, Punky was excited, had a new friend, a new buddy. They were always over there hanging out.
But not everybody is taken with the couple. They're a questionable influence on Punky and Kelly's already shaky marriage.
When I first met him, Tammy opens the door, she's got a big, shiny black eye, and I'm like, I'm not gonna like this guy.
A lot of Punky's friends told him to stay away from him because the guy was trouble.
There's good reason to steer clear of Jerry Trussell.
He was running a chop shop here in Wichita. He was very knowledgeable on cars, taking them apart and disposing of parts and different things like that.
And worse.
Tammy would tell us how abusive Jerry was and how scared she was of him. One time at the mechanic shop that Jerry got so mad that he picked Tammy up and held her up by her throat until she almost passed out, and then he dropped her on the floor. That Jerry was a hothead, you really had to watch yourself around him. He could hurt people.
But Punky either doesn't know about Jerry's past or doesn't care. And when, in June 1997, Jerry and Tammy are evicted from their home in Wichita, Punky is there to bail them out.
My brother told him, well, come stay with us. We've got room, we'll help you out. And they moved in.
With 2 young kids, Kelly and Punky Harrod don't have much room at home, but they make space for Speedway pals Tammy and Jerry, who've just been evicted from their rental. It's a tight squeeze.
It was Punky and Kelly and my grandkids, and then Tammy and Jerry and their kids. A lot of people for a little house like that.
What's up, Jerry? How you doing, bud?
Punky's pretty happy with the new arrangement. After all, he has good reason to feel generous.
Been waiting for this all my whole life.
He found out he was getting a job at Cessna. He was all excited.
The new job will mean more money, and with it, freedom.
He's like, I could get you a car, Kelly, fix up the house. We could have more money to do stuff, won't have to worry about money. And, everything was gonna be great.
The job couldn't come at a better time. Kelly is pregnant again. Everything in the young couple's life seems to be looking up, but it's not. Punky can't be sure the new baby is actually his.
I didn't think it was Punky's, but that's irregardless. That's not my business.
Kelly has a history of infidelity, and the father could be any number of people, including the couple's new tenant. It seems Kelly is falling for the older man's charms.
Jerry thought that Kelly really loved him and that he was going to be able to have Kelly.
The tension between the 2 men grows, especially when Punky and Kelly's wedding anniversary is announced publicly at 81 Speedway.
Congratulations to Punky and Kaylee on their wedding anniversary.
So sweet.
And Kelly liked that. And she thought it was pretty neat to hear their anniversary announced.
Just because it's so beautiful.
But later on, I heard that Jerry was pissed about it.
You might say he was jealous.
This is one of those scenarios where I ask myself, what is Punky thinking? Their relationship is in crisis. Let's bring another guy into the household who she can possibly have an affair with.
There's all kinds of chaos in this household, and that usually does not bode well. And particularly the infidelity that appears to be occurring, and it appears to be a common thread going back to the beginning of Kelly and Punky's relationship.
It seems like Jerry and Tammy are a very bad influence on Punky and Kelly's relationship. It was already fragile, and things seem to be getting worse. This is a recipe for disaster.
Just the simple fact that you have a married woman who's pregnant and Kelly's not sure whether the father is her husband or some other guy kind of tells you everything you need to know about Punky and Kelly's relationship at this point.
9 days after Punky and Kelly's anniversary, the two men are back at the track, racing together. But teammates need to trust, not hate.
The last race they had, I guess Jerry was steering the car and Punky was using the gas, and Jerry spun out and he got all pissed off with Punky because of it, and it all went downhill from there. I went back down to the pits, asked Punky, what's wrong with Jerry? Oh, he's been an
The next time Punky speaks with his dad, he's obviously upset, but he won't say why.
Everything's okay.
I asked him, is something wrong? No, nothing wrong, but I could tell in his voice something was wrong. That's what's the matter, boy? Nothing wrong, nothing wrong.
Yeah, don't worry about that. I'll give you a call tomorrow.
I think he might have known about Jerry and Kelly, but I don't think he wanted me to know.
Just be careful, kid.
Bye, Dad.
Franklin never has the opportunity to ask his son again. The next day, Punky disappears.
Kelly's story was, I was in the shower, and he popped his head in and says, I'm gonna run and go get some cigarettes, I'll be right back. And that a car pulled up, he got into it, never came back.
Kelly said he left with a friend. That's who did he leave with? I don't know, he just said he'd be back. I tried to page him. Just when I paged him, he always called back. Sometimes it'd take 2 times, but he always called back. And I knew when I paged him, he didn't call back, something's wrong.
Nobody knows where Punky could have gone. Even more alarming, he's supposed to be at Cessna the next day for his new job.
But he never showed up. He never showed up.
For Punky, all hope seems to be lost. Until on Valentine's Day 2001, almost 4 years after his disappearance, Punky sends a message to his family.
I was reading through the love lines, you know. I read through them all the time. Then all of a sudden, I saw this one caught my eye. And it said, Mom and Dad, I love you. Tell Kelly I love you. And I'll be back and I love the girls. Punky.
For Punky's family, the ad opens up old wounds.
That's not possible.
I knew that wasn't him. He would have called my husband to begin with. He wouldn't have put it in the paper for us to see just like that. Somebody had put it in there to play a bad joke or what?
I called Butler County Sheriff. Well, I ain't read that shit. I said, I want to know what the going on.
If the ad is meant to quash any suspicions of foul play, it has the opposite effect.
What was strange about the love lines was that it was addressed to Dad, Mom, and his sister, Lisa, but his brother was not mentioned. If Punky had sent it, he would, of course, have addressed the brother in there as well.
Detective Randy Kaufman is assigned to review the case files. She quickly learns that days after Punky disappeared, an anonymous source called police claiming to have crucial information.
I needed to talk to somebody about this missing person paper that I found in a little store out in Andover.
This was a gentleman that called our 911 center on Friday evening, and he had information about the disappearance of Punky Herod.
I know a couple of people that knew him, and they were talking about doing him in, killing him.
He said, I know what happened to this guy. I need to talk to someone. The 911 dispatcher at the time said, well, I don't have a detective working right now. Can I take your number? I'll have him call you back.
I'm really freaked out on that. I'm not going to give my name, and I don't want to be involved with it.
He said, well, he was calling from a payphone, that he wouldn't be there long, and that he would call back to our office on Monday after the weekend. He never called back.
It got lost in the shuffle, the tape. I resurrected it.
And I got a couple more things.
The mystery caller now becomes the focus of the investigation, but finding him after all this time won't be easy.
He didn't have a phone. We didn't have his name. We couldn't find out who he was. All we had was a recording of his voice on a tape to what he sounded like.
Luckily, the caller has some distinctive mannerisms.
The caller kept referring to these people, and these people wanted weapons, and he had a funny pronunciation for weapons. I thought he was saying whippings at first.
Randy teams up with Reserve Deputy Glenn Hopper. They go door to door in Punky and Kelly's old stomping grounds.
I wanted to play the anonymous caller tape for all of their friends to see if somebody could identify him.
No one can, until finally Detective Kaufman gets a lead.
I had a call from a woman, and I ended up getting her location, setting up a date and time for the interview.
The woman's husband joins the conversation.
I played the tape for them, wanting to know if they knew who this person was. But as they talked, he made these people comment a couple of times, so I suspected I had the right person. He did admit that he was the anonymous caller.
The informant is a former neighbor of Tammy and Jerry Trussell. He tells detectives that one night, Jerry came to him with a troubling request.
Jerry had come to him asking for a gun, and he said, of course, he didn't provide it, but they had asked, and this was shortly before Punky disappeared.
The timing may be suspicious, but asking for a gun does not prove anything. What the cops really want to do is bring Jerry's girlfriend Tammy in for questioning. Then they find a reason to do exactly that.
We learned Tammy had a warrant out of Greenwood County for driving while suspended. It's not a, significant crime per se, but it was something to work with.
They arrest Tammy, hoping that the threat of jail will persuade her to talk.
We talked to her about, you really want to separate yourself from these people because you are going to be wearing orange for the rest of your life.
If Tammy talks, the police and the Harrod family might finally discover what really happened to Punky. Tammy tells them what they have long suspected, that Punky is dead.
It was Jerry.
She says Jerry Trussell shot and killed him and disposed of his body on the edge of the Walnut River, over 45 miles from Punky's house. She even draws a map of the area where his corpse is buried, wrapped in a blue tarp.
It's an area where a lot of kids over the years hung out, partied at night, partied on the weekends.
The county attorney pulls together a search team to scour the banks of the Walnut River.
We're looking for human bones. We're looking also for grass is not growing. Often the flesh, as it decomposes, will put out an oily that prevents stuff from growing.
We excavated the area, and we were not able to find anything.
It's a bitter disappointment.
It just would have been so nice to have Punky's parents, to be able to bury him.
But the search isn't entirely fruitless. Police unearth a blue tarp that seems to match Tammy's story.
The blue tarp was dried, and there was about 40 pounds of dirt scraped off of it. And through that 40 pounds of dirt, there was 5 hairs found.
5 hairs of unknown origin.
The FBI determined that there was 3 human hairs and 2 animal hairs. We felt we had enough probable cause then to write search warrants. They asked for human blood, hair, and buccal swabs off the people we suspected, that being Tammy, Kelly, Jerry.
Police bring Kelly in first.
We picked up Kelly. We told her that we had hair, and we were going to match the hair to the people that were involved, and that there would be arrests coming.
They tell her that not only could she go to jail, she could lose her daughters.
We did assure Kelly then that we were going to come between her and her children, and that scared her, because she loved her girls very much, and she didn't want anything to come between her and her children.
Forced into a corner, Kelly starts to talk. The year Punky disappeared, Kelly was desperate to get out of her marriage, but didn't want to lose her kids. She confided her fears to Tammy.
Well, while they're driving in, I get to talking about how maybe great life would be if Punky wasn't around.
Kelly says, we've got to do away with him. I can't do this anymore, and I would do it, but it can't be me because I would be the first suspect.
Tammy sees an opportunity. She's tired of being abused by her husband, Jerry, and she knows her husband is hot for Kelly. If she can get him involved in Kelly's murderous scheme, maybe he'll leave her alone.
Anything to keep Jerry happy and not being abusive to her.
Tammy then took it upon herself to talk to Jerry about getting rid of Punky.
Jerry strikes a deal with Kelly. He'll murder Punky if she'll sleep with him.
Jerry's frame of mind at the time was, wow, I get rid of Punky, I've got 2 girls. You know, I can have sex with Tammy whenever I want, and I can have sex with Kelly whenever I want.
Kelly had sex with Jerry as payment to do this, to have him killed. They even had a schedule.
It's Monday, Jerry. Jerry said he'd take care of it. He came up from behind Punky one day, tried taking him to the ground.
Kelly describes what happened on the day Punky disappeared, July 29th, 1997.
Tammy was there with a gun.
The morning they all got up, and Jerry said, today's the day.
Kelly, I'll be back.
Jerry walked by Kelly and went outside, and Tammy were running out there right after him, and they had told her, stay in the house, keep the kids in the house.
When Punky came outside, Jerry started picking a fight with him.
I know my brother when it comes to fighting. If it's your friend, you don't fight hard. So Jerry and him were wrestling around on the ground, and Punky's like, what is your problem, dude? What is your deal?
Punky was a very good-sized man and weighed quite a bit, but you have to understand Jerry Trussell. Jerry Trussell was small in stature, but he was very, very strong and crazy. He was Alabama strong, is the way people described it to us. Could pick motors up out of cars by himself.
When Tammy gets out there, he's like,
Shoot him! Shoot him!
go get the gun out of the truck. And she went and got it and come back and had it pointed at them.
Jerry was saying
Shoot him!
that she had in her mind, you know, who should I really shoot? Should I shoot Jerry or should I shoot Punky? If I shoot Jerry, a lot of my problems would be over with him beating me, wanting to have sex with other women. But you have to remember that Tammy was very, very scared of Jerry.
Punky's last words were, I'm gonna kill all of you. And she shot him and he was dead.
After Punky was killed, it put it in the back of an old pickup truck, covered it up with limbs. That night, Frank Harrod came to the house, and Punky was already gone. Frank was asking, where's my son? Where's my son?
He was in the back of a truck, rolled up in a tarp. There's tree limbs on top of it. I wouldn't swear to it, but I think I was leaning on that truck the second night with his body in it, but I didn't see it.
Kelly's confession makes her guilt crystal clear. She conspired to kill her husband. Tammy is next. It isn't hard to get her to talk.
Tammy was ready to confess. Her relationship with Jerry wasn't getting any better. Her daughter was getting a little older. And I just think that she wanted it to come to an end. I think she really thought in her mind that maybe going to prison and getting away from Jerry was a better life.
She admits to her role in the killing and the cover-up.
Tammy actually had put those ads in, trying to throw investigators off because she thought we were getting closer to making an arrest or finding out what had happened to Punky Harrod. I think she felt very guilty that she hadn't come clean earlier and put all of us through that.
Tammy and Kelly cracked under pressure when being pressed by law enforcement. And what that tells me is that ultimately these women were worried about themselves and what was going to happen to them. And they were willing to tell the truth about everything else in order to protect themselves.
The most surprising thing to me in this entire case is that Tammy actually shot Punky when she had a chance to solve her problem and shoot Jerry because he was attacking Punky and could have said, hey, I was trying to defend my poor defenseless neighbor friend Punky from my crazy violent husband. She actually went ahead and shot Punky and actually carried out Jerry's goal and solved Kelly's problem. Yeah, it's a very strange trio, bonded by sex and murder.
In 2007, Jerry Trussell is convicted of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder in Punky Harrod's death. As the mastermind of the killing, he is sentenced to 25 years. He never reveals where Punky is buried.
Jerry knows where he put the body, and Jerry is not telling us.
Tammy and Kelly get reduced sentences in return for testifying against Jerry. Tammy gets 9 years and is still in prison. Kelly gets less than 3 years and returns to her daughters in Wichita.
She was the first one to come clean and talk. The county attorney had made a deal, and she got the lighter sentence.